Welcome back to The Daily Show. We're here joined by President Bill Clinton. When you are in a space where a campaign is being run, and this is turning into one of the uglier campaigns that we've seen, you know, a lot of hateful rhetoric is coming up, you know, whether it be racial, whether it be nationalistic, you know, you see the rise of alt-right movements and so on, a lot of misogynistic comments about your wife. When running that kind of race, when you're out on the trail, you're out there as one of Hillary's surrogates. Do you feel some of that tension, or are you only seeing the positive side of the race?
Well, if you go and have rallies, you tend to have the people that tend to show up for you, you know, and your whole goal is to register more of them, make sure they understand they have to vote, and talk about arguments that they can make to other people. But for most of my life, each political party had a 40% base, and then there were 20% that were genuinely up for grabs. By the time the 2000 race came along between Al Gore and President George W. Bush, it was probably down to 10. It may be down to less now because we're getting siloed. We are siloed in the TV shows we watch and the websites we scan, everything. America's come so far. We're less racist, sexist, homophobic, and anti-religious, specific religions than we used to be. We have one remaining bigotry. We don't want to be around anybody who disagrees with us. And, you know, the crowd's laughing, but they didn't laugh loud because they know I'm telling the truth.
One of the biggest themes that's come up over and over again in this campaign has been, do you want more of the same, or do you want an outsider? A man who doesn't believe in logic and ideas, someone who thinks differently.
That's actually accurate.
It appears there are a lot of people who seem to want that. It appears there are a lot of people who say, this is what I need. Now, you are in the unique position. President Barack Obama many times on the trail has said, you don't know what it's like until you sit behind that desk. You don't know what it's like until you have to make those decisions. Experience is touted as one of the most important things. You yourself, though, came in as somewhat of an outsider. So the question then is, what is the most experience? What is the most important thing? Is it the experience, or is it the willingness to do something? What should an American voter be looking for the best outcome?
Well, first, I had an advantage. I'd never been in office in Washington, but I was young, but I was the longest serving governor in America. So I'd had a lot of executive experience. I think that both these candidates have had a lot of experiences. They've made a lot of decisions. Those decisions have had consequences. There is a record of them. So this is being debated. It's saying she's an insider, I'm an outsider. There's one big difference. Most of her strongest supporters are people who have worked for her or have done business with him. They're for her too. Most of his strongest supporters are, I'm against this administration, I just want something new. And I don't like all these changes. I mean, I want to come inside and close the door. Look, I get that. There are a lot of people who feel economically or culturally dispossessed. They want to come in, close the door. That's the Brexit vote in England.
Yes.
The UK, I mean. So what I think is important is a proven record of making good decisions and make good things happen for other people. People that work for you, the people that you were supposed to serve. That's what I think is important.
Do you get afraid sometimes when you see the hateful rhetoric?
Sure. Look, I am a product of what is supposed to be Hillary's opponent's base. The non-college educated, small town and rural, white working class. I was the first person in my family ever to go to college. I'll probably be the last president to ever live on a small farm without indoor plumbing. It's good politics, it's a terrible experience. In the winter, the outhouse is overrated. In the summer, when the snakes come out, it is. But I know how fragile it is. And I watched unscrupulous politicians play my people from the time I was a little boy. all the racism that was inspired over the integration of Little Rock Central High School in Arkansas. Everybody looking for somebody else to blame. Surely to God, there's some way we can be just a little bit madder at each other than we are now, just a little bit more divided. And yet, the people I come from, for all their anger, they provided about, just the Scots-Irish Protestants, about 25% of the people who ever wore the uniform of this country going back to the Revolution. If your house was on fire, you'd want them in the neighborhood because they'd run into your house and save your kid and put the house out. But they are being played now because their incomes are down. There are 2 counties in West Virginia where the #1 source of income is a disability check. This is the first drug epidemic in my lifetime where the addiction rates are highest in small town and rural America. I just try to think of what to do about this because I'm not in politics anymore. And I think the only way to soothe people's pain is to give them a positive response that constitutes answers, not anger, and empowerment, not resentment. I think that's the answer. But I get what we're going through, and so far, nothing that's happened will surprise me. But we have, if I were 25 again, that's like Make America Great Again. I'd like to be. But I wouldn't vote for anybody who promised to make me 25 again. But anyway, if I were and somebody said, you can be wherever you want to be 30 years from now, but you have to decide right now, I'd pick America because we're better positioned. But if we give in to this lowest common denominator, everybody's our enemy, tell me something bad about it or I don't want to know. Let's divide and demean and demonize. We could blow it all. And we could lead the world in a very different direction. That's why the election's so important. And why, I've tried to make the changes in the foundation that you talked about so that people understand that being president's a whole different kettle of fish than being Secretary of State. If I had made a mistake, for example, on these foreign donations, there was always appeal to the White House. The president could always say, no, I don't think you should do that. But if she becomes president, I should just not take foreign money, not take corporate money, farm out all of our international operations to others, and I'm in the process of doing that, make those that should stay together independent of me, and remove all questions of conflicts. I think we can do that. But the main thing is the model that we pioneered is the way we ought to run the country. You ought to get everybody together, agree on what you're going to do, and make something good happen. That's way better than all this constant fighting. And it may mean that you'll have to look elsewhere for jokes on the Daily Show.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, I'll try to give you that high-class problem. Do what I do.
That is a good problem. I got to thank you so much for being here. We could talk to you forever because it really is amazing. And you are right. You're one of the happier people on the trail. I did think about.
Go figure.
What gift I could give you for coming to the show. I really do appreciate it. And I thought you are the man who has everything from people to influence. And I didn't notice that there is one thing that makes you smile.